Hi. I wanted to make a video about starting to collect Pokemon cards in 2025. The reason being is that when I started my own collection, I made quite a few mistakes and I thought it might be useful to put some of those on the record so that you guys could perhaps learn from my mistakes and perhaps have a better time of things in starting your own collections. The biggest mistake I made was by far and away just trying to do too much all at once. So what I'm going to say to you are some tips of how to approach things with a slightly more level head and perhaps have a bit more fun as a result of it as well. So before you start buying anything, my advice to you is to think very carefully about what sort of collection you want to have. It might be that you're a bit of a completionist and you're thinking, I want to do master sets, in which case, good luck to you. I mean, some of them, fine, sure, but I mean, I definitely started thinking about master sets myself and realised very quickly that I would need to win the lottery in most cases, especially with Sword and Shield sets, anything before that point in time as well. So it might be master sets, it might be that you're looking for specific card types. I was chatting to a guy a while ago who only collects full art trainer cards, for example. I've seen a thing on Real Breaking Nate's channel about a guy who actually collects card sleeves, you know, the ones that you get in like ETBs and stuff, and he collects those and he's got a whole binder of those. Maybe that's something that you kind of fancy doing. Maybe it's non-TCG stuff, you know, the Card-ass cards and things like that. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but they're fun, they're worth a look for sure. It might be that you're looking for specific Pokemon. I have a binder that I put specific Pokemon cards in, so they're like favourites of mine. So I have Snorlax and Celebi and Virizion and ones like that. So I'm collecting those cards just as a bit of a fun side project, really. It might be totally random. You might just think, I'm just going to buy whatever's cheap and open it up, see what I get and enjoy what that is. I mean, fair play to you if that's what you want to do. That's totally fine. It might be that you want to think about just collecting sealed products. Everyone's going to do their own thing. When you start making those decisions, the thing to think about are, the three things to think about are budget, availability of the products, the cards, and where are you going to get them from? Are they available? Are they around? There's things to think about. Sword and Shield is becoming harder and harder to get, for example, so you might want to think about that. So even some Scarlet and Violet, you know, Obsidian Flames, Paldea Evolved, you know, these early sets from the era are now out of print. It's difficult to get hold of those and you will start paying a premium on those in short time. So, you know, maybe it's better to just start with what's out there, you know? Maybe start at Twilight Masquerade or something like that, or Stellar Crown or whatever, really. But like, think about that, because once you are doing it and you've kind of made that commitment to it, you're in, and that's a hard thing to break out of, trust me. Speaking of where, there's some really great availability across different types of stores, and there will be in your area as well. Unless you live somewhere super rural or like, you know, one of the far-flung islands above Scotland or something. So I'm going to talk you through what I would consider the three main kind of areas that you would look into to find things. So a really good idea when you're starting out collecting Pokemon cards is finding where your local Pokemon card shops are. You'll get them in all sorts of places, but going to the local shops is generally where you're going to get the better deals, and I think also it's good to support local businesses, isn't it, really? My favourite local shop to me in Bristol is in fact called Card Catcher, and it is up in Staple Hill, and I'm just going to go there now. I'll show you the outside of it. There it is. It's the one with the blue shop front there. I'm going to go in, check to see if Sam doesn't mind me filming in there, and I'll show you a bit of the inside. So this is the inside of Card Catcher. As you can see, it's fully stocked at the moment. It's got some great stuff. We've got some people in doing trades, playing games, celebrating Pokemon Day, all sorts of stuff going on in here. It's a great shop. Some really good stock as well. Really cool bits and bobs in here. Including Funko Pops, which are always a a welcome addition to any Pokemon shop. And he's got some great boxes and some binders and also some amazing graded cards as well, which are the collection that seems to be growing in here now. These are the sort of shops where you want to be going, because you will find the hidden gems here, and they will have stuff that, you know, your bigger shops don't necessarily have all the time. Plus, the people who run them are generally some of the nicest people, and will also have the best knowledge of Pokemon as well. So it's always a really good place to go and, you know, get to know someone and get to find out a bit more about your interest. Another thing with local shops is that they often will buy your bulk as well, although many of them will only buy like recent bulk, like for example Sam won't buy Sword and Shield, he has got some, but mostly it's Scarlet and Violet. The reason being is because in his shop people come in to play the actual card game as well, which means that they're looking to pick up cards that are still legal within the game system. So, but they're really good shops for doing that if you have got a load of bulk you want rid of. Just picking up some temporal forces from Sam here. Sam, why do you think people should shop local when it comes to Pokemon?
I think the reason that people should shop local is because, one, it supports local businesses, and two, if you're a collector looking for specific cards, you can come in and actually see them in person. If you're a player, we've got tables for you to come down and play and things like that, and actually, you know, be part of the community and, you know, just get the cards you need in general on the spot. So that's one of the main reasons. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks, Sam. Cheers. So, whilst I'm all about local business and supporting local business, another great option for Pokemon is shops like chain shops, really, like Smith's. Let me show you. Smith's has really taken up the post Toys R Us mantle across the UK. Just recently with Prismatic, Smith's has been a real godsend because, you know, it's whilst everyone was charging, you know, well over the odds, Smith's were charging recommended retail. Many local shops were as well, but you know, it's a big shop, they get more stock, that kind of thing. You have more luck sometimes, so it's always worth keeping an eye on the stock on Smith's website. It seems to update pretty like immediately, actually. It's quite a live stock thing, so it's worth taking a look and yeah, keeping an eye on things if you are sort of expecting things. As I say, local first always, but sometimes needs must. Got a jacket on now. Yeah, so didn't film in there. The thing is, there's kids and stuff, isn't there? So it feels a bit sketchy doing that, and I don't really want to be that person. So, but they didn't have an awful lot in today. Nowhere does, do they, at the moment? But I did get a couple of temporal forces, which seems to be the theme of this video so far in terms of purchases. So yeah, but I did also have a really good chat with the guy. He told me that they've got some Prismatic stuff turning up first thing tomorrow, so I'll probably nip along, try and grab one of those as well. Another option is supermarkets, which, as I've mentioned before, things get nicked from, so not always the best choice. To be honest, I don't buy a lot of stuff like that in supermarkets. There's no real need for it. Sometimes you find stuff, so it's always worth keeping an eye out. Also, they're the sort of shops you're going to end up going into at some point anyway, so always worth having a nose. So yeah, Asda's got a pretty stocked kind of toy section. It's always got a ton of Lego. Yeah, and then you get this for Pokemon. Well, they have got something. I'm not really sure if I'm in the market for a Mabosta VX box, to be honest. Yeah, hi. Yeah, obviously these have all gone. But yeah, I mean, they've got stuff, but I'm not going to buy that box because I don't want it. And yeah, might just see if there's anything else. So where is that Animal Crossing Lego? Amazing! I stopped in Aldi as I was driving. I was like, oh, there's an Aldi, and they've got a ton of Pokemon stuff. I'm not sure they've got any cars, but look at these adorable teddy urses. I want to know how much they are. Oh, $24.99. was a bit much, but they've also got like lots of models and stuff. Yeah, bits and pieces. Not seeing any cards at the moment, but let's have a look. I'm going to keep looking. No Pokemon cards. Never mind. Bit of a long shot. To be fair, they get these really good deals on Pokemon cards in Aldi sometimes. But there was a big thing about it being on like last week, I think. They usually sell out, so I probably missed it, but worth a go. My cat's gone mad. Another important thing to do, which can be a little bit daunting to start off with, but you know, once you're kind of out there getting involved in it, it's really good, is to really check into your local Pokemon scene. You know, if you have stuff going on locally, it is well worth getting involved. What I will say is that the Pokemon community is one of the nicest fan groups that you could hope to be part of. It's a really wonderful community. People are supportive, they're kind, they're friendly, they're welcoming. You know, we're a bunch of nerds, do you know what I mean? Like, we're a bunch of nerds that like collecting shiny cardboard. What's not to like? So get involved, check out your local card scene and you know, find your people. Check out your local stores as well. Like I showed you at Sam's shop, Cardcatcher here in Bristol. You know, they will often have play Pokemon tournaments, like TCG tournaments, as well as things like trade nights, and just, you know, general meetups as well. Like, they're good places to hang out. Like you saw in the video of Cardcatcher, you know, people are just kind of in there hanging out, doing trades. It's a nice place to go, and it's friendly and it's welcoming. Once you get to know people, yeah, it's a bit like Cheers. It's, you know, everyone will know your name kind of thing. It's that kind of a thing. People are friendly, and it's well worth getting involved in. The other thing to think about are things like pop-up events and card shows that are happening nearby or, you know, within a fair reach of you. You know, if you're willing to travel, then great, but there's always going to be something going on around you. You know, even if you are living quite rurally, the nearest city will have something going on for sure. You know, you can go, you can just see what's what, you pick up some great stuff. It's also a really fun way of seeing what other people are buying, what they're doing and what's out there. And if you are trying to pick up some rarer bits and pieces, whether that's older sets or specific cards, often you're going to find them at the card shows. Shopping online is a really great way of finding cards that you need without spending a small fortune. You can very easily pick up some bargains. So for example, the other day I was having a little look around at Chinese tag team cards that I'm, you know, really into at the moment. You can zoom in, you can see what the quality of the card is. You know, most decent postings on eBay, for example, will show you the front and the back at least. And a lot of places, if you message them, will send further pictures if you ask nicely. I know I do. eBay is definitely somewhere to have a look. There are all sorts of other online stores as well, although, you know, eBay is, you know, probably one of the more sort of, you know, well-known ones. And also, you know, you can check out people's reviews. So do you know what, I'm going to show you mine rather than other people's reviews, because that feels a bit mean. So you know, here's my eBay shop. You can see I've got 100% positive feedback. Lovely. You can look at people's feedback, you can see what's being said. Yeah, so like, yeah, cool, people are happy, people, you know, you can see if people are, you know, unhappy with things. So like a lot of people are saying, you know, oh, my card arrived quickly and cards were in good condition, good communication, great. So you can buy from someone feeling a lot more secure in what you're doing, basically. Another website to have a look at is tcgplayer.com. So you can shop all Japanese. I didn't know that. That's cool. So you can look on there, you can see what people are doing. I've currently got the prices listed in dollars because I haven't logged in. But you know, you can log in, you can adapt all of that, and you can see what's selling, what people are selling them for, what they're buying. Let's look at Whale Lord. But yeah, so you can see what's going on, and then you've got the listings of them. You can see who's selling what, and you can make comparisons. So TCG Player is a great place to buy cards, especially if you are looking for specific singles as well. And then there's all kinds of other online stores as well. So I'll show you some of my favourites. Something that I have found very, very useful in terms of building my collection is using a tracker app. I use Collector. I'm pretty certain that's probably the biggest one, but there are others out there. Collector allows you to keep track of what you have, what you haven't got. You can see what's missing. You can use its filters to filter out what cards you don't currently own, what cards you do own, whether you've got variants of that card, that kind of thing. You can also track your graded collection if that's something you're looking at doing as well. It's a really useful way of doing things. It might be that you don't want to use an app. It might be that you'd prefer to keep a spreadsheet or, you know, a list, or I don't know, like people talk about their chase cards. Sometimes it's nice to have a chase list, you know, and you can have that on you and see what you're doing. When I was still working on master sets, I would type out, when I got to the point where I would have, you know, like a handful of cards per set, I would type out lists and have that printed in my pocket. And it's a bit quicker that way as well, because if you are looking for sort of like literally a handful of specific cards, you can just take your piece of paper out. Often the people working in the shop can look at it and go, we don't have that, we do have that, we do have that, blah, 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 blah. Or you've got it to hand. You can be flicking through binders and thinking, oh yeah, there it is. Yep, that's the one. Yep, perfect. Great, I'll take that one. Done. As opposed to having to like search through on the app and stuff. The other thing to consider is that, you know, not everywhere has great mobile coverage. And whilst having, you know, your collection kept on the cloud so that you've got an easy reference point, if you haven't got internet coverage, you aren't going to be able to access it. And, you know, if you're trying to look up multiple cards whilst you're in a card shop with no coverage, that gets pretty old pretty quickly. Another thing to think about in terms of being a bit more organized with your collection is, you know, there are all sorts of like local Discord groups that you could be on. You can look at Reddit's sort of Pokemon subreddits and things. There's lots and lots of things out there to help you keep on top of the availability of products, sale items, that kind of thing. You know, it's not a cheap hobby, and there is absolutely no shame in trying to get the best price for things. Signing up for mailing lists is another thing to do. Think really carefully about it. There's obviously a lot of online shops and stuff, and there's the big ones, the big three, which I'm not going to promote on here because you'll have come across them already, but there's a ton of other smaller ones that are well worth your time. The final thing I want to talk to you about today is storing your collection. You know, it's pretty obvious that if you're going to build a Pokemon collection, it's going to accrue in value very, very quickly. Yeah, it just will. Like, even if you're not intentionally setting out, it will grow in value. So you need to think very carefully about how you're storing things. There are so many options out there, depending on what you're storing, how you want to keep things, you know, there's all kinds of things. I'm going to show you some of those items and talk you through a little bit about how I'm storing some things as well. There's all kinds of options out there. So yeah, let me show you. So you're getting a little behind the scenes peek here at my collection. Let me get my cat's scratcher out of the way. So we've got all kinds of options here. So as you can see, I've got quite a few binders, and I've got a very, very nice case for my graded cards. I have various boxes to store my sealed stuff in, my sealed promos. I've got these kind of things for collecting my sealed larger products and things. This is my bulk box here. I'll show you that in a minute. And yeah, I think that's it. So this is my Voltex top loader box. It's great. It has a magnetic top to it. It comes right off if you want it to, like that. So you could store it, but again, it stops it from getting dusty. It stops your cards from going all over the place. It comes with these sponge dividers to help keep things in place. And it just means that you have a safe place to keep some of your cards that are just, you know, like I've got a collection of cards here that don't really fit into other things, but I'm building a little collection and I'm keeping them safe. So please note that these cards are in top loaders. They are in sleeves inside the top loader and then inside the plastic sleeve. Okay, this is my super awesome Coda graded card case. I don't have a code on it, so you can't be cracking it. But yeah, and as you can see, it's got this amazing kind of like foam to keep things safe on top. It's got these really nice sturdy foam dividers, and again comes with these little foam blocks to help. Also, I left the silica gel in there because it helps to keep things dry, and it just means that you can stack up your graded cards you know, tidily. You can keep them safe in here. Yeah, you know, there's all sorts of cool stuff that you just want to keep safe and tidy and you don't want to get damaged. So, you know, this is a great way of doing that. So Nugget and I are big fans of the Voltex binders. I do have a couple of other brands as well, but yeah, for me, Voltex are the best. And you can see that they're really sturdy, and this is a great way of storing a master set. So this is my unfinished 151 master set. But yeah, you can see it's just a really good way of keeping your cards safe and secure, keeping them all in one place. And I always do it so that I leave gaps so that I can see exactly what I need as well. As you can see, there's quite a few gaps for 151. I have a number of different sizes of these boxes. I get most of them in B&M actually. Oh, you come to help, Nugs? But they have these really nice strong clips on the sides. I highly recommend them. I think like with most things like storage, you know, you get what you pay for really. But I use them for all sorts of things. So for example, this one is one of the smaller ones I have, and I have it for storing sealed packs. So yeah, I've got them all sealed in here like that. I've used semi-rigid holders to put the packs in, and then I'm using the universal graded card sleeves to put them in to keep them nice and secure, so they are being protected from dust and cat hair. I've recently acquired a bulk box since I started opening more for the channel as well. I realised that I was going to need to store things, particularly a lot of the Asian cards that I open, which just, you know, aren't something that, because like with Scarlet and Violet bulk, I can easily get rid of that and sell it on, like at Card Catcher, they buy a lot of my bulk. But yeah, I've got all kinds of cards in here, some Korean ones, I think that is. You know, I've got all sorts in here, and it's just keeping them safe and secure so that, you know, they are fine and I know where they are, and I've got them sort of semi-organised in here as well. Number 1, think about what you need to buy, what you want to buy, how you want to collect. Form a plan and build from there. Don't just go in ad hoc. You will spend too much money, you'll waste money. It's not worth it. Number 2, look around. Find where you can find what you need. Whether that's your local stores, whether that's card shows, whether it's looking online. There are so many options of where to buy Pokemon cards now. You'll find bargains. You'll find yourself, you'll buy something and you'll find that you've been done. You've overpaid for it. It happens to all of us. But find where works for you. Number 3, figure out where you can find stuff online. Draw up your little battle plan. So like when I was working on my master sets still, I would reach a certain point where I'd hit like a percentage of completion and I'd be like, right, I'm just buying singles now. I'm not going to buy packs anymore, because it reaches a point where it's sort of foolhardy to buy packs, it's kind of just gambling at that point. So that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid being a gambler and you want to stick to being a collector. Number 4, get yourself organised. Really be organised. Honestly, I love a bit of organisation, okay? You can't go wrong. Like, I love all of that. It's great. I like doing the admin of things. My mother's daughter, put it that way. Collections stored in apps, keeping spreadsheets, keeping physical lists, all ways of making sure that you are on the hunt for the correct things, that you're not buying doubles, that you're not accidentally missing out on opportunities. And number 5, make sure you're storing your collections safely and securely. Think really long term. These are things that you're potentially going to have in your possession, in your collection, for decades. When you're thinking about your Pokemon card collection, you really need to think about how you're storing things, how you're keeping them dry, dust-free, out of sunlight. What are you doing to stop them from getting the corners messed up and frayed? How are you protecting your sealed products? Are you putting them in cases? Are you putting them in boxes and then in cases? Like, there's all kinds of things out there for you to use to keep your collection safe. Anyway, I hope these tips have helped, and I hope that you have so much fun building your Pokemon collection. I'm having a lot of fun still building mine. Tell me how your collection's going. What are you working on? I really want some comments about what you're up to. Have you got any tips? What would you add to this video in terms of, helping people figure out what they're doing for their collections this year and going forwards? Share your tips. Let's make this video like a bit of a knowledge hub for newcomers to the hobby. But again, thank you for watching. I've been so encouraged by the growth in subscribers in the last week or so. Like, there's just suddenly a ton more people, which is really positive and has made me so happy. Thank you very, very much. What can I say? I'll see you in the next video. Take care.